My name is Heather Sampson. I did my research proposal over women in the criminal justice system, specifically on how they are related to, or how they are treated related to men or compared to men. So the first thing is the purpose of the study, which is a brief statement about the purpose of the study. Then we have the literature review, which is a summary of the main conclusions relevant to the topic of the choice, or the topic of the question. And then the third is research questions and hypothesis, which is a clear statement of the research question and the research hypothesis. Then fourth is the design, where we're just going to discuss dependent and independent variables along with quantitative versus qualitative. And then fifth is the method, which is describing the topic of the section. And then sixth is the implication, which is discuss the strengths and limitations of design. So first is the purpose. And the purpose of the study is to have a better understanding of how women are treated in the criminal justice system. And the main focus of the criminal justice system for many years have been men because of their high incarceration rates. Women are often overlooked and neglected in the criminal justice system, which is what Jennifer Dungy, the author of Justice for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women, she also stated that women often come into the criminal justice system with past trauma and experience to abuse or violence from other inmates and staff while incarcerated. And according to international human rights law, preventing and combating violence against women is the responsibility of the state in all contexts, including prisons. In recent years, there has been an increasing number of women being incarcerated globally. Men have been responsible for higher incarceration rates and higher crime rates, but women's need in the criminal justice system needs to be met. And this led me to the question of, is there a difference between gender treatment in the criminal justice system, and are women treated differently or worse than men? I think there's no question that all prisoners around the world are not always treated fairly or humanely. And due to the overpopulation of men in the criminal justice system, women will get better treatment in facilities where it's women only. And then women are treated with more leniency, but with the rise of female offenders, leniency is not going to increase with them. So this is the literature review. So we have gendered crimes, sentencings, and then the treatment during and after incarceration. For gendered crimes, women are more likely to commit drug crimes, property crimes, and violent crimes. 74% of women in state prison were using drugs before being incarcerated. 20% of women in prison were convicted of property crimes compared to 19% of men. 54% of men are convicted of violent crimes, while 37% of all women commit violent crimes. So the UCR data obviously shows that men commit more crime or more crime than women, and they are responsible for 81% of all violent crimes and 63% of property crimes. And women are often living in low poverty because of the gender wage gap. They make just above 50% less than men, and then poverty drives people to commit crime, and this is prominent women. And then we have sentencing. Women in the criminal justice system are often faced with leniency on their sentences. This can be because women are hard to perceive as criminals due to their societal gender roles, such as being nurturing and loving. Women are more likely to serve shorter terms than men and are more likely to have charges dismissed or dropped, and it is also common for women to have more leniency on their sentencing in order to protect them from other male inmates, and then also for male inmates who target women. And plea deals are often have more of an effect for men than women. And black women are punished harsher than white and Hispanic women. And the more women who come into the criminal justice system, the more the leniency is wearing off, and they're getting harsher sentences altogether. Next is treatment during incarceration and after. Women take a small percentage of the prison population, but the rate has been steadily increasing. Women often come into the criminal justice system with pre-existing mental health struggles that continue to grow worse. Many people who are incarcerated are not given proper resources upon release. So women in some countries, even America, such as in Georgia, are given birth while they're incarcerated, and 11 countries have enacted laws where this is being prevented and prohibited. Unfortunately, this has caused infant deaths, and which people are calling on reform and change. And then there, in the United Nations in 2010, they adopted rules for the treatment of women prisoners and non-custodial measures for women offenders. And these are also known as the Bangkok Rules, and it is 70 rules for lawmakers and legislation to make laws in order to protect women, even in prison. And most people are not compensated or given access to services that would help them heal from trauma in and out of incarceration. And many incarcerated women also struggle compared to men on keeping jobs and reuniting with their families. And women who are released from prison are often out of touch with family, friends, and other connections that are needed for networking purposes, which makes it harder for them to keep and find long-lasting jobs. Next is the design and the independent variable is how the offenders are treated in the criminal justice system, and the dependent variable is the gender, because the gender affects how they're treated. And this is a qualitative study because it's a survey consisting of closed-ended questions. Okay, and then here's the research method. So this is like how the research study and like the survey would be brought together and given out. So first is we would select we would select a prison, or two prisons actually, one prison with both male and female in the facility, and one with only females. And this is to see if women are better treated, focused on themselves, as to having other inmates such as males in there with them. And then we would just go with the females on participants, and then we'd give it out to them and ask questions about their age, race, gender, and ask questions about how they were treated inside of these facilities. And then the results would identify the treatment of women and possibly where they get the best treatment. Lastly, we have the implications, which is the strengths with women committing more crime, or with committing more and more crime. This data would help women be treated correctly in the criminal justice system, and then the limitations are false answers on surveys, or having the sample size maybe too big or too small.